He's a very stupid man because there's so many instances. I mean, one of the things that he's been
I
complaining
did
about.
magic mushrooms in California. Oh,
I
you
think it's just
idiot.
you
Why would you say
idiot.
that?
But the thing is, he's been complaining with his legal case with the Home Office is that he doesn't receive enough security because of his status. Well,
Have you ever heard of magic mushroom therapy? Behind curiosity is a world full of mystery and controversy. Trendy magic mushroom therapy endorsed by Prince Harry triggers significant psychological distress in 13% who try it. Let's find out whether this therapy is an advanced medical invention or a threat to the human mind. Watch the entire video. Experts tracked the self-reported behavior of nearly 10,000 psilocybin users and found many cases of paranoia, intense fear, and vivid hallucinations. Some users experienced feelings of death, impending destruction, torture, while others saw demons, skeletons, insects. While these findings are observational, experts warn that they should be taken seriously. Psychedelic therapies such as lysergic acid diethylamide, magic mushrooms, ketamine, and 3,4-methyl-N-deoxymethamphetamine have been heralded by some British psychiatrists as new solutions to mental illnesses such as depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. However, this report adds to concerns about psilocybin side effects. Prince Harry's actions in endorsing a therapy without thorough investigation and lack of seriousness have raised many concerns and questions about his ethical responsibility and perception of his influence. In a world where celebrity influence can spread quickly and widely, not making well-founded claims and not doing thorough research before making decisions can cause serious problems, unwanted and potential consequences for society as a whole. If a public figure like Prince Harry is not responsible for his statements and decisions, what can we expect from ordinary people? Such blind support is not only a moral betrayal, but also a threat to public health and security. We need to approach this issue more deeply and comprehensively to ensure that the decisions made by prominent figures are not only based on rigorous knowledge and research, but also reflects responsibility and a broader vision of the consequences of individual actions on society. This is what a person with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, shared. I have severe PTSD where I was exposed to those types of drugs unwillingly. Pushing treatments that can likely make one worse, like ketamine, LSD, which they are about to approve, and shrooms, is cruel and inhumane. The doctor has no control over what will happen to your mind during exposure. It is a huge risk that should have never been legalized. Prince Harry needs to face and take responsibility for the consequences of his reckless actions and lack of thorough research. Supporting a therapy without further investigation and scientific basis is not only irresponsible but also an action that threatens the health and security of society. His improper and ill-thought-out decisions could lead to serious consequences, from creating confusion and uncertainty in the community to losing public trust. Actually, this therapy is not completely bad, but it must be done in the right way, at the right dose, and under the supervision of a doctor in a controlled environment. They have had significant success in treating patients with PTSD with this treatment, also curing long-term depression and having extremely high success with chronic smokers, both after 1 or 2 sessions with a professional. But in reality, not everyone complies with those requirements. And Harry hadn't said so clearly either. Besides, hospital or not, no one, not even a doctor, can control if your mind goes to a worse place during the drug-induced psychosis. It's very dangerous and has a high risk of worsening those conditions. That's obvious. It's a mind-altering substance. You have to expect some people can't handle it for a number of reasons. It's not for everyone is the same with any substance you take. A 0.2 extra could be the difference between a good experience and a bad one. I am sure with Harry you can see the long-term damage it causes, with those symptoms being a petulant child or constant feeling of persecution, to fear of being chased in taxis. The paranoia these drugs cause is immense. As we have seen. Stay clear. Harry and Meghan are 2 of the most privileged people in the history of the world, and they present themselves as victims. It's ridiculous to always want to be a victim to erase your mistakes. You vile thing. Maybe because you can't cope with the truth that you're responsible for your own behavior, and hallucinating an alternative reality might get you off the hook. Harry can't cope with the truth that William was right all along, so he has to take drugs to keep deluding and convincing himself that William is the cause of all his problems instead. Naturally, that makes him feel better. It doesn't make it true, but it does make him feel better. They now have pushed ketamine and are in the process of pushing LSD for treatments. Those drugs were illegal for a reason. It is cruel and inhumane to push these treatments on people already mentally suffering. The risk of severely worsening mental health due to the state of psychosis those drugs put you in is a huge risk. There was already a disorder in the DSM that is a condition caused by using hallucinogens. To even consider pushing any of those drugs is someone after their own financial gain. It only stands to hurt more already suffering. Ketamine is also very nasty and shouldn't even be used for surgery when there are much safer forms of sedation. Royal Harry needs to accept his actions. He knew people would try the mushrooms. When Harry underwent mushroom therapy, he hallucinated that he was married to an evil woman who wanted to take over the world and destroy all the relationships in his life. Oh, hang on, ... Picking mushrooms is no problem unless you're an average British kid. My friend ate something called Liberty Caps and died of liver failure at age 17. It was called Destroying Angel by the coroner. I recently found a picture of it and it really looked okay. I might have tried it. Glad we didn't. Well, Harry, it seems nothing will work on helping with the loss of your mom or with the fact that you are a spare. My impression is that you are most comfortable with the label victim so that others will be forced to care about you. It is so sad to see someone with such potential and influence resort to dangerous and unproven methods in a desperate attempt to cope. Instead of seeking genuine help and facing your grief head-on, you've chosen to endorse a path that not only endangers your mental health but also misleads millions of others who look up to you. This victim mentality might bring you temporary solace and attention, but it will never truly heal the wounds or fill the void left by your mother's tragic death. Your actions, driven by this need for sympathy and validation, have real-world consequences. They spread rumors and encourage others to follow in your misguided footsteps, potentially putting their own mental health at risk. It's time to take a step back, reevaluate your choices, and consider the impact of your actions on both yourself and the wider community. Turning your back on scientifically proven methods and responsible behavior in favor of quick fixes and dangerous therapies is not the answer. True healing comes from within, and it requires strength, resilience, and a commitment to facing your pain honestly and constructively. It's time to rise above the victim label and become a responsible role model who others can truly admire and respect. Harry, by promoting the use of such substances without fully understanding or conveying their dangers, you are playing with fire. The potential for triggering severe mental health crises in vulnerable individuals is not a minor side effect, it's a significant and often irreversible consequence. It's one thing to seek alternative therapies for personal healing, but it's entirely another to publicly endorse them without acknowledging the very real dangers they pose. Your platform carries immense weight, and with that comes a responsibility to ensure that your messages are informed, balanced, and safe. Encouraging others to experiment with powerful psychedelics under the guise of healing without proper guidance and awareness of the risks is deeply irresponsible. It's not just your own mental health at stake, it's the well-being of countless individuals who may follow your lead. Harry is just plain goofy and an immature, entitled man-child. The royal family should be glad that he's off royal duties and lives in California. Harry's hate and bitterness in himself to destroy his family will not end well in his life. There's no going back and making amends with his family, they don't trust him at all. Yet another thing for Harry's children to be ashamed of when they get a bit older and realize what sad, despicable, vengeful people their parents are. Harry, your actions today will inevitably shape how your children perceive you in the future. They will look back and see a father who, in his quest for healing and validation, may have inadvertently caused harm to countless others. Your children deserve a role model who makes informed, responsible decisions. They deserve to look up to a parent who uses their platform to promote safety, well-being, and scientifically backed methods of healing. Instead, they might see someone who, in his pain and desperation, chose to endorse dangerous, unproven therapies without fully understanding or communicating their risks. Magic mushrooms, like many powerful substances, have the potential to do great harm when used irresponsibly. I've seen people become psychotic during and after consuming them. It was their first schizophrenic episode, which would have occurred at some point anyway, but the mushrooms triggered it. This isn't just a theoretical risk, it's a real terrifying consequence that you're downplaying or ignoring altogether. Imagine your children years from now facing the harsh reality of your choices. They will have to reconcile the image of their father with the knowledge of the dangers he potentially unleashed upon others. They might have to answer difficult questions about why their parent, a figure of influence and power, chose a path that could cause so much harm. It is not too late to change this narrative. You have the opportunity to become a true role model for your children and the world. Embrace the responsibility that comes with your position. Seek out and promote therapies that are safe, effective, and backed by rigorous scientific research. Show your children that strength and wisdom come from making informed, thoughtful decisions even in the face of personal pain and struggle. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching our video, and what do you think about this horrifying act of Harry? Please express your opinion in the comments below. Hope you will always be cheerful and happy. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye and see you again in the next videos.